we're on. You are live and it's working. Yay! Thank you everybody for your patience last week. Marsha's here.
Hi, Marsha.
Hey Marsha, how's the sound? Hedy, can you speak a little?
Yes, I could.
Good.
Hello, Marsha. Well, hello, Marsha.
And
Well,
Greg
hello.
is here.
Hiya,
I'm
Greg.
seeing some hearts.
Wonderful.
And how is the sound, folks?
Let me keep talking.
Yes, keep talking.
Hedy, sit up straight.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yes.
I am being like...
Very good.
Okay.
I am just going to go and turn off the other phone. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir.
We'll start in a minute.
But I can talk, right?
You chat away.
Okay. I was watching Marsha the other day, and she sits so beautifully like this. And I thought to myself, when I sit down, I sit like this. And I sit so much when I work. I put the brush here, I do this, I do that, I do that. And I have to bend. And at 93 years old, there has been so much bending that I have to become more conscious of not bending. And so, every once in a while, I'll make believe I'm Marsha. And I'll sit up very, very straight. And I'll keep talking because my lungs will not be compressed.
It is 7 o'clock. Tammy is here.
Hi,
you look
Tammy.
like a lumberjack, Marsha says. Fran is here. Marilu says hola, hola.
Hola, hola.
And Greg and Marsha say the sound is good.
Good.
So you are on, Hedy.
Thank you, Kenny. Now, let's begin. First of all, whenever I am in this room, I make sure that I cover myself because oil loves to stick in your clothes and not to be washed out. Okay? Let me begin where I failed last week. I do not understand technology, and I don't enjoy listening to explanations. But I decided that I will from now on. And today Hedy Weidman came, and I said to him, and he brought me this picture, and he put it right here so that it would be very visible. In the painting, Hedy is here with the camera. And I'm going to be speaking...
Point again to where Hedy is.
Right here with the camera.
Yes.
Which produced this. But I said to him, Hedy, I ask people for advice and then I don't listen. I have to learn how to hear when I listen. And I began that today. So he explained to me how he can hold the camera here and not see anything. But if I press a certain button and hold the camera a certain way, the camera puts the correct angle there. That's magic. And I have to learn to accept magic. And I went through my papers and I thought, from the comments that people have been giving me constantly, they want to hear about life, my life, the people I know, and the world I live in. I messed up badly last week because I wanted to talk about Michael Albert and the food we ate and how we celebrated his birthday because his family is vegan. Am I saying it right?
Vegan.
Vegan. And the food was wonderful, even though it wasn't like any food I've ever heard of. And it made me think, their premise, and my two grandchildren, Deidre and Mike, are vegan. But I didn't understand what it meant until I went there. And I have the menu, and I'll tell you everything about that eventually. But right now, what made me think was, the enormous power that people do have. Years ago, people said, I will not wear leather, because in order to wear leather, an animal has to be killed and the skin taken off and created leather from it. And people who lived with leather, as everybody did in those days, thought that was a ridiculous thought, because who would stop wearing leather? And now, years later, I look at the tables at your feet and everybody is wearing sneakers. So it is possible to stop killing animals and change a culture. And the vegan people are doing just that. My grandchildren who are vegan, well, it all began with me with Jessie as a little kid who heard that a lobster screams when you put it into boiling water. And he was shaken by that. And he stopped eating animal food. And he's slim and athletic. And he's a vegetarian. And in the old days, when Eric smoked, we always had ashtrays in the house when we had company, because everybody smoked. Remember, I'm 93 years old. So in my youth, everybody smoked. I remember the wonderful smell coming into my house when my grandfather smoked a pipe. And the smell was wonderful. There's no smoke in my house anymore. And Eric stopped smoking. So it is possible for a culture like vegan and vegetarians and non-smokers to literally change the world. Because if you watch any old movies, which I love to do, there's always smoke going into the air. So maybe someday we will stop killing people for their land and their labor. And when I was 8 years old, and Hitler came to Vienna, Austria, where I lived, and suddenly I was not allowed to be in a public school because I was Jewish. And I thought, and I was not allowed to walk to the park with somebody, because if they looked Jewish, they would be killed. And I knew at that time that the people who didn't want me in their school were losing me. And the people who killed Jews, when I came to America and saw segregation, they needed black people to work for them for free. So slavery was created. And that's gone in this country. But we still haven't given reparations. We have promised to give a mule and some land to anybody who was forced to work without pay. And Germany is paying reparations to people like me, but America is not paying it to Americans. And I'm bringing this up because I knew I was going to change the world. All I had to do was to draw real people, and people would realize they're real. And that's when I began the Lower East Side. And John, who is John Taracusa, who is all the way in California is doing a film, a 1-hour film, 60 minutes of some of my paintings. But what he said to me was, I know you did the Lord, I know you did other things, but it's this beginning of America that I find more interesting. And so, let me show you what I did. Kenny and I went through my drawings. I just want to show you more about Michael Albert's work. I have shown it already. And any time you want to see it again, check Michael Albert, who I went to his class. And by the way, I believe in November 1, Long Beach is going to host the program on him. And I will announce it before.
And this is the Gettysburg Address. 70 years ago. 70 years ago.
He had a class in Long Beach, and I was excited, and I went. And there on the table there were boxes of cereal and, in other words, printed boxes with things on them. And what we did, we were given scissors and we cut out letters and created pictures with them. Art is what you want. I remember my Jessie wouldn't throw out some old shoes because he was going to make a sculpture of them. And I saw these old sneakers and said, can't we give them away? He says, no. He said, it'll become a statue. And the world is filled with people who have ideas of art, and we do not let them express it. The New Yorker magazine does. So let me go to my drawings now and show you. It all began.
And Mom, can I just read what people
Yes.
saying? So, Tammy Smith says, yes, we come to learn about you and experience your life. And Amy Lauren is watching. Janine is watching. Janine says, hi, Hedy. Hi, everyone. Paula Lakshan is watching. Sandy Kelman Alzek says, hello, Aunt Hedy from Sandy and Ismail. Eileen is watching. She says, dear Hedy, your perspective is so valuable. Thank you. And John Taracuso says, hi, Hedy. Hi, Ken. Hugs from California. And Tammy says, I look forward to seeing the film.
Let me just say something about Tammy. In a sense, Tammy was my beginning. I met her in this wonderful group, and she said to me, what do you do? And I said, I'm a street artist. And she said, that doesn't have any meaning. Explain what that means. Where can I see your work? And I said, you can't, because I've been lucky. I sold everything as I did it. And she said, no, that's not an answer. Then you have to begin something. And I mentioned it to my grandchild, Jessie. And Jessie made my website, which is HedyPagramansky.com. Where does the Pagramansky come from? I married Eric Pagramansky, and I became Hedy Pagramansky. And then a few years later, he became a citizen. And he came home and he said, I am no longer Eric Pagramansky, and you are no longer Hedy Pagramansky. I circumcised it. You are now Hedy Page, and I am Eric Page. Because the judge said it is customary to ask people with what for us are unpronounceable names. And if on the day when you become a citizen and your wife with you, no, not the wife, no, because I was not a citizen yet. So he said, the day you become a citizen, it costs you nothing to tell me to change your name. And and you're going to be Hedy Page. But not really legally yet, because you're not a citizen yet. So it would cost you $50. We didn't have $50. Eric at that time was earning 80 cents an hour, which later became 85 cents. But on the other hand, our rent on, I think it was either the 5th or the 6th floor walk-up in Brownsville, was $30 a month. So $50 was a month's rent, more or less. And money was very different. At any rate, I love credit cards. Okay, shall I start showing some of the drawings?
Sure. What should I read? Because people have said a number
I'd
of
love
other
that,
things.
yes.
Tammy said the universe sent you to me. And Yola Pitikas is watching. And Amy Lauren said, Kenny, can you please pinch your mother's rosy smiling cheeks for all of us watching? Who is sweeter and more sincere? You're going to let me do it.
Pinch it, yes. It's from Tammy.
And Amy. And more sincere than Hedy? Nobody. Okay, I'll pinch the cheeks.
I love social what, Kenny?
Social media.
Social media.
Okay, should I show your art? Oh, let me see. Yola says, I love you, Hedy. Elena says, hello, Hedy. Oh, Sandy says, you're frozen. Oh, boy. Hopefully we're not frozen now. Okay. So.
Okay. Lucy. Lucy worked at one of the delis where I always ate on the Lower East Side. Let me tell you about Lucy. Okay? Lucy would bring a basket of bread to the table, and then she would pack it up, whatever was left, and she would give it to the people who ate there. And when I asked her once how she does that, she says it's probably the only meal they have today. I can't let it go to waste. So I don't ask, I just give them the bread to take home. The place was Galishof's. Yeah. Okay. This was somebody I used for my subway painting. All my people whom you don't recognize are in a painting, but since I've done 92 so far, this is going to be 93, maybe 94, because I think I didn't number one of them. I will, when I stop with this one, I will renumber everything correctly. Yes. Yes. Lower East Side. And I use that wagon constantly. I use him in the first painting. No, in the third painting. And probably in a whole number of others. And if you ever go through the list of my paintings, each one has a complete story of the people in it. Thank you, Tammy. You made that happen. Oh, that's you, Kenny. No, the last one is you.
Okay, you want me to do that one?
Okay. That was Kenny as a little boy fishing, but he did not fish long. I found out, and that's probably why Jesse became a vegetarian, because his father must have been aware of animals should not be caused pain, because when he found out he had to put a hook through the mouth of a fish, he stopped fishing. So Kenny, that's past history. I'm doing this to encourage all of you to do a history of your family. Do it with photos, do it with anything, but do it. That's Central Park at the bottom. And on top, it's somebody sitting on a park bench.
I'm just showing Central Park. Slowly.
Central Park. I knew.
Okay, now I'll show this park bench person.
Yes. I knew I had to change the world, and that if, just the way vegetarians don't eat meat, just the way people who didn't want to wear leather changed us to sneakers. Now all we need is a way to change people from hating people. And I hope to do that. Subways and buses. People who are models without knowing they are. Next week we're going to show portraits of people.
And nudes.
And nudes, okay. That'll be art school. Because nudes did not parade in the street. So I had to wait for art school to see a naked body. And my father did not like the idea that I was doing men with loincloths. Can I see this closer?
Mm-hmm.
That's my Lower East Side wigs. And oh, I wonder if this is the store that
that's in your painting? One of your paintings?
Yes. When I have to tell you this. I'm so excited.
Should I pull that out?
Kenny, the papers that I brought, are they under
I
here?
think so.
Because no, that's Jesse's. No, let me. Kenny, don't worry because it's long enough for me not to do damage.
Can I help? Can I go over there?
Okay.
Okay.
The batch at the end.
This?
Yes. No. I have the wonderful habit of putting everything where it is and then moving it. And then not. Kenny, could it be underneath the painting rags?
Let's check.
Yeah.
It probably is, and I moved this and completely messed you up.
Oh, I love you.
That's what happens.
Thank you. Okay.
Sorry.
This is the miracle I want to talk about. Her name is Kinal. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I think I'm doing it correctly. But this is the miracle. I suddenly got an email from this lady who is a Chinese lady who married a Jewish man who grew up on the Lower East Side 50 years before I did my Lower East Side series. So there's a 50-year difference between the world she knows and the world I did. And we began to write to each other and speak to each other. And it's like finding a twin. Our thoughts are the same. And I printed her work out with her permission and sent it to John Terracuso in California. and said, John, you love the Lower East Side series. This is another section of it. And what really got to me was she connected to me because she read online about how Eric, my husband who passed away, how he dealt with the hate and the anger after concentration camp. And since she lost her brother through a terrible way as well, she learned how to get rid of hate by reading about him. And if you remember what that was about, when friends asked him, how did you get rid of the hate? Because for him, the worst part of the concentration camp was when he saw his mother being beaten to death and he couldn't stop her. There was a fence and guards. And when friends asked Eric, how did you get rid of the hate? He went like this. He said he would dig into his mouth and pick it up, the hate. And it was usually because a car passed in front of him. Things which the rage was waiting for any reason to come out, which is why he was so good as a volunteer in the prison system, teaching people how to cope with rage. And he would pull out and look at it and say, is it worth it? And then throw it away. And she said that she learned from that. So Eric, wherever you are, thank you. I'm going to ask for her for permission to read some of the things in the future that she wrote, because I would like you to know that Lower East Side too. Okay? I know my time is running low. Any comments?
Oh yeah, tons of comments.
Good. Read them all.
We're not going to show any more sketches for today?
Oh no, we'll do the sketches.
Okay.
But I just can't wait for the comments.
Yes, there's a lot of them. Okay. Dory says, credit cards get us into trouble. Amy Lauren said, that literally made me cry. And I think that was referring to like the hug and my pinching your cheeks. Dory said, not frozen here. Marilu said, not frozen. Tammy said, love you. Thank you, Jesse, for the website. Eileen said, oh my, to one of your drawings. And then she said, Kenny fishing. Beautiful. Then Marilu said, the chair reminds me of my house in Cologne, long time ago. And Eileen says, oh, these drawings, so incredible. And Dory is reminding you, remember to pack next week's topics and related sketches and take them with you. And Tammy says, you radiate positive energy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to tell you a little bit about Hedy today.
Wait, there's a little bit more. Let me just finish reading.
Oh, yes. I love those. Kenny, you're feeling what I feel.
Sorry, folks. It's very touching.
He didn't have tears when I showed him his fishing as a little boy.
So, Marcia said, I just love your drawings, Hedy, and love you more. It's such a joy to see and hear you.
You know, I have...
Sorry, folks.
May I just say something quickly?
Yes.
I'm going through things, and one of them is a bag filled with special letters, and one of them is from you, Marcia, when you come, I'll show it to you. But it made me cry.
Well, Marcia says it's such a joy to see and hear you. And Tammy says, thank you for helping us know Eric. And Ed is sending 3 beautiful hearts. And Marcia is saying what wisdom he had. Such a special person Eric was.
Yes. But I lived with him during the years when he got rid of the anger. And he hated his anger because there were no Nazi guards to put the anger on. So it was eating him up inside. And all of you who carry anger, you can only get rid of it by helping others. Nature does that. It doesn't, if you don't plant, you don't get. But if you hurt this side and you give to that one, you're not healing this one. You have to go back and say, I'm sorry, did I hurt you?
And so, thank you. And so, Marilou says, love you. And Amy Lauren says, my guess is all 14 on this Hedy Live are now crying. And Eileen says, oh, Kenela, we share your tears always. And Marilou said about everyone crying, said, yes, yes, yes. And Sandy says, loved Uncle Eric so much.
Good night, everybody. I will see you next Monday.